Have you ever noticed how some professionals instantly feel credible while others just feel like they are trying too hard? I have built YouTube channels across multiple niches, some with top-ranking videos, others with massive reach and millions of views. After seeing how all of that works behind the scenes, I can tell you this with confidence. If you are a professional, chasing views is usually the wrong goal. What matters far more is authority, trust, and the right clients. So by the end of this video, you will understand the specific psychological and communication elements that make some professionals instantly credible, while others struggle to be taken seriously. So you can position yourself as the obvious authority in your field without chasing views or followers. Now, you might have noticed something a little different about this video. This is my AI twin. You see, I use it because as a professional, my job isn't to spend 10 hours a week filming. It's to think, solve problems, and help clients. And the real value isn't only the face on the screen, it's the thinking behind it. Have you ever watched two professionals give similar advice and immediately felt like one was more credible than the other? Your brain makes credibility judgments within seconds, long before you have had time to evaluate their actual credentials or expertise. Most professionals do not realize they are being assessed on perception, not qualifications. They focus on proving their knowledge while missing the instant credibility signals that actually matter. The viewer's mind has already decided whether to trust you before you have finished your first sentence. People decide whether someone feels authoritative within seconds, long before evaluating credentials or expertise. This means your perceived authority is determined by elements you can control: your presence, your certainty, your delivery, not just your resume or years of experience. Now, before we go further, let me give you something practical. If you're a consultant, coach, or service professional, and you want clients from YouTube without becoming a content creator, I built a short diagnostic called the Expertise to Authority Breakdown. It shows you exactly which part of your experience should become your authority angle on YouTube. So you're not guessing what to talk about or copying creator strategies that don't fit you. Click the link in the description to get your personalized breakdown that you can use right away. Why do some professionals feel instantly trustworthy while others feel like they are putting on a show? Most professionals think they need to be more energetic, more entertaining, more engaging to hold attention. They watch successful content creators and try to copy that high energy delivery style. But this creates the opposite effect with professional audiences. When you perform, you signal that you are trying to win approval. When you are uncertain about your delivery, viewers become uncertain about your expertise. The more you try to be engaging, the less authoritative you appear. Authority comes from calm presence and clarity of thought, not energetic delivery or entertainment-style performance. True authority feels steady, certain, and unforced, like someone who knows their value does not depend on keeping you entertained. Have you ever noticed that the most credible professionals seem to speak more deliberately than typical content creators? We are conditioned to expect fast-paced, stimulating content that grabs attention immediately. Most professionals worry that if they do not match this speed, viewers will lose interest and click away. They rush through their points, trying to pack in as much value as possible, as quickly as possible. But this creates a mismatch between what authority actually sounds like and what they think people want to hear. When you speed up to match content expectations, you lose the very quality that makes you feel authoritative. Authority content feels more deliberate and thoughtful because it prioritizes insight over speed or stimulation. This slower pace is not a weakness. It is a signal that what you are sharing has been carefully considered and is worth the viewer's focused attention. Why do some professionals feel credible without ever mentioning their credentials or experience? Most professionals think they need to establish their expertise by listing their qualifications, years of experience, or client results. They open with their bio, mention their certifications, or reference their track record. But this approach often backfires. When you explicitly claim expertise, you are asking for conscious evaluation, and that invites skepticism. The viewer starts questioning whether your credentials actually matter. Meanwhile, true authority operates below the conscious level. Through signals, the viewer processes automatically without realizing it. Tone, pacing, framing, and certainty communicate expertise more powerfully than explicit claims or credentials. These subconscious cues bypass critical thinking and create an immediate sense of competence that feels natural and unforced. What separates someone who sounds knowledgeable from someone who sounds like an authority? Most professionals focus on sharing information clearly and thoroughly. They explain concepts, break down processes, and provide step-by-step guidance. This feels helpful, but it positions them as educators rather than authorities. When you only explain what something is or how it works, you are functioning as a conduit for existing knowledge. The viewer appreciates the clarity, but they do not necessarily see you as the source of insight. They could potentially get the same information elsewhere, just presented differently. Authorities do not just explain information, they interpret meaning and implications for the viewer's situation. They connect dots, reveal patterns, and help viewers understand not just what to do, but why it matters specifically to them. This interpretive layer is what transforms information sharing into authority positioning. If that distinction just clicked for you, I built a short diagnostic that helps you clarify which parts of your experience actually translate into authority and which ones don't. It's called the Expertise to Authority Breakdown. There's a link below if you want clarity instead of guesswork. Why do some professionals feel familiar and trustworthy, even when you have only seen a few of their videos? Most professionals worry about being repetitive or boring their audience with consistent messaging. They try to vary their approach, cover different angles, or show range in their expertise. But this variation actually works against trust building. When your positioning shifts from video to video, viewers have to reassess who you are and what you stand for each time they encounter your content. This cognitive effort creates friction and prevents the automatic trust response from forming. Without consistency, each interaction feels like starting over. Repeated exposure to consistent positioning builds familiarity, which the brain interprets as credibility. When viewers encounter the same authoritative presence repeatedly, recognition creates trust without conscious evaluation. They begin to feel like they know and understand your perspective. Why do some videos continue attracting clients months or even years after they are published, while others become irrelevant within weeks? Most professionals see viral content getting massive, immediate attention and assume that is what they should aim for. They try to tap into trends, reference current events, or create content around what is popular right now. But trend-based content has a built-in expiration date. Once the moment passes, the relevance disappears. Meanwhile, they are constantly chasing the next trend, creating content that becomes outdated faster than they can produce it. This approach traps them in a cycle of constantly needing fresh material just to stay visible. Insight-driven content remains valuable over time, while trend-driven content loses relevance quickly. When you focus on timeless principles and interpretations rather than current events, Your content continues working for you long after you have moved on to other projects. What happens when someone has watched enough of your content that they stop questioning your expertise? Most professionals focus on proving their credibility in each individual piece of content. They work hard to establish trust, demonstrate knowledge, and win over skeptical viewers one video at a time. But they miss the compound effect that happens when all the previous elements work together consistently. When viewers have been exposed to your calm presence, your interpretive insights, and your consistent positioning repeatedly, something shifts in how they process your content. They stop evaluating whether you are credible and start assuming you are. When perception, consistency, and insight align, viewers begin trusting your perspective automatically before conscious evaluation. This creates an authority loop where your credibility becomes the starting point for every interaction, not something you have to rebuild each time. But here's what most professionals miss about this authority loop. They think once they have established credibility, the work is done. They assume viewers will automatically become clients just because trust has been built. But authority without strategic positioning is just expensive consulting that no one can afford. The real question is not whether people trust your expertise. It is whether they understand how that expertise solves their specific problem. And this is where the authority paradox begins.